Dan, can you hear me, sir?
I gotcha.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you for coming back and presenting for us.
No problem.
Yeah, well, so, again, I'm filling in for Sean. I definitely lack his expertise at this. I am merely a lackey, but, I will do my best. So I think last week we were talking about some of the secrets to production. One thing I wanted to ask about is, again, as a top producer, it looks like the market is starting to change. What are your thoughts on market change? And are you taking actions to get ready for that?
Yeah, more actions, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, we talk about it a lot where, if you're seeing a market slow down or you're having more challenging conversations with buyers and stuff like that, you could still go into the MLS and look at the last 30 days, what's went under contract, and there are homes that are selling. You're just not the person doing it. So when you look at that and kind of inspect your activities, comes down to two things. You got to do more of what you've always done, and then you got to try doing different stuff.
Yeah. Now, are you working expireds also? Because from what I recall, a lot of listings go in with a 6-month window, right? And they go in the spring. And so you've got a lot of expireds happening at this time of year.
Yeah, we don't. We dabbled in it before. We spent quite a while doing the cancels and expireds and the FSBOs and stuff. It's competitive out here. And then kind of fell off it completely when the market was so hot, nothing was expiring or canceling. And if it was, you probably didn't want those homes anyway. So, we've done the whole triple line dialer thing. We just don't make it a part of our business model now. We're on a Zillow Flex program, so Zillow referrals, and then we do a lot of our own lead generation. I generate my own Facebook leads as well as, we do a lot of Facebook and Google PPC. So we have a good mix, though. We have a good mix of working our SOI, higher intent buyers with the Flex program. And then, the pipeline, which is the biggest thing of nurtures, is just we fill kind of all aspects of what you need. And the Google PPC stuff, obviously the conversion rate's super low, but it gives you a reason to get in the office and call every day. It doesn't hurt having that pond of people. So yeah, that's the main sources of our lead generation. Not that I mean, everybody has their own niche, but I don't really make the cancels and expireds a part of our model just yet.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Everybody has different things that they work. Some folks love probate, right? I know a couple of people who just they're all over probate. And then I got into the industry I got into the industry in 2009, right? And so REO was giant for several years, and a few folks specialize in short sales, although from what I understand, those are an enormous pain. So, a lot of people stay away from that. But
yeah. And when I first started, I talked about it a little bit last week. It was all foreclosures. Like my average price point when I first started was, everything was under 100K out here, especially in the south suburbs of Chicago. I mean, that's kind of, I feel like you just have to be good at leaning into whatever shift or correction is happening. And I've seen several of them, between the bigger foreclosure days and the 2011, 12, 13, and then thanks to HGTV and all of their TV shows they came out with, everybody then wanted to flip homes regardless of any business model. So I started slowly transitioning out of that into more traditional real estate, and then obviously leading into the COVID times where everything was a little bit wacky. And now you're starting to see more of a correction, which kind of just reminds me of 2018. I mean, it's not all that scary to me. And I think that if you just put the work in, people still need to move. I think we had a conversation today at our team meeting about, rental rates aren't going down anytime soon either. So I think you're going to see more pent up buyer demand. 10 years into it, I still haven't figured out how to mentally get over the freak out time of seasonality with November, December, and January. So, it's just not anything I'm ever comfortable with. But again, I mean, I think we're at the point now with it almost being Thanksgiving that anything you do now, even if you get a contract that isn't closing until 2023. So, keep putting those actions in. I know around here, there's a lot of agents that take off around this time, and there's a lot of people that are at home for the holidays. So it's a good opportunity to get connections, double down on everything and try to set yourself up for the first quarter.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, so I lack your expertise. I am not a real estate agent. I'll put that out there, right? I will, put my ignorance on display for everybody, but
yeah, Sean threw you to the wolves today.
He did. He threw me to the wolves. Yes. But what's interesting is I have been in the coaching industry for, I don't know, over a decade now. And so, I've picked up a lot of tidbits. And one of the things was, so I've met a couple of really big agents who have said that their trick was prospecting through the holidays. And one of them, I'd asked him, I said, well, I was like, the holidays, everybody goes on vacation, right? I mean, nobody's there mentally, or even if they're there physically, it's like, you're not buying a house before Christmas. That's just not something that folks really do. And he's like, it's true. You're only going to get half as many hits, when you're calling. And he's like, and that can be disheartening. He's like, the thing is, real estate agents go on vacation too. And so you're the only person reaching them. And so he's like, you'll get fewer hits, but the ones that you get are way better because they're not being pinged by every agent and their brother. So,
right. Well, I think, it depends on how your approach is. If your approach is just, not getting knocked off, being habitual with your activities, you should really never stop it. I mean, there's 2 days we're not in the office a year. That's Thanksgiving and Christmas. Every other day we're doing what we do every day. And I think that's part of it. So it's not necessarily about how successful is that period of time you're making calls going to be. I think what's the negative impact on your business if you decide to take off 2 or 3 days of calling? You know what I mean? I think banking, just staying habitual and doing the actions every day is a lot more impactful than taking a few days off, which could have an equally negative impact on your business. And which one do you really want to decide to do? We're talking a few hours a day. Sure, you might dial 100 people and talk to 3, but it's a hell of a lot better than not doing it at all, simply because of just forming the positive habits.
Yeah, no, that's so important. Well, I work virtually, and I have for a long time. So, I used to have an office and all that, and I just work from home, right? And so I have a nice home office, but part of it is, it's like, getting up, getting into that routine, getting dressed, shaving, all of those things, like I'm going into an office, except that the office is here, and a lot of that's psychological, right? It's like, okay, now I'm at work,
Right. I think people confuse the value of their time of those doing those actions and reporting to work with what they're going to get out of it. And I think you need to focus more on just the fact that you're actually doing it. And we fall in love with the result way too often. And I think we fail to recognize that, if we simply just do, everybody on here can agree that if you decide to make calls, that's a positive action, regardless of what the result is of that call session. It's a positive action that you're doing. And I think that you need to weight that a little bit more than falling in love with what the result would be from it. Just the fact that you're doing it is not going to have a negative impact on your business. You know what I mean? But now you might not get that result right away, but the fact that you are consistently doing positive things for your business, maybe you don't see it right away, but you're banking it for later, So getting knocked off track is only going to hurt you, even delaying a day or two, right? Because then you're making up for it 2 days later, and then you're getting behind on something else. So it just spills over, So neglecting to do that type of thing is based off of what the result's going to be, or how many people are going to answer, or anything like that. I don't really buy into, because I think it still takes away from just you being habitual and consistent with what you need to do every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me change topics a sec. You were talking about buying leads. So, everybody has lots of different lead sources. And from a marketing perspective, this is something that I think all of us struggle with. But, you can get leads from lots of places. There's how much you pay for them, which is always kind of a toss up. Then there's also lead quality, right? Like, how motivated are they? Are they going to buy or sell in the next, month, or is it going to be 6 months, or what?
Right.
What are your favorites, and what do you think the worst are in terms of leads?
Oh, lead generation wise? I think a lot of people will have a lot of different answers, and a lot of people think certain leads suck, but in all actuality, they probably do. And that's just being real. I mean, it takes a skill set and an approach, right? If you're calling a Facebook and Google lead and you're trying to come from a really salesy perspective, most of those are long-term nurtures. You know what I mean? There's an opportunity to connect with them and learn about what they're looking for, and nurture them over time. And I think it's a lot of it is just a skill set issue. As for lead generation, I mean, it's not hard to learn how to run your own Facebook ads. And then the types of Facebook ads you could run are very simple. You could, Facebook has made it a little bit harder, a lot of it harder in the last couple of years since they started doing the special housing categories. And back in the day in 2017, 2016, you used to be able to target neighborhoods, homeowners, all sorts of stuff. Now you can't really do that anymore. So you can run your own ads. It's cost efficient. You can get creative with it, you can create ads for your just listed stuff. If you're trying to target an area, you can do median priced homes in certain areas. I mean, in our area, there's a lot of parity between, here and 3 miles from here. Average price point in my market right here is $350, and you can go 5 miles east and be at 175. So it makes it hard when they make you advertise in a 15-mile radius. But learning and learning different approaches and different ads you could run on Facebook is pretty cost efficient. Other than that, I mean, obviously there's the boom towns, the sinks. I've been with Ylopo for, 5 years now. Ylopo is a good Facebook and Google PPC client. They also integrate really well with Follow Up Boss, which is my CRM. Referral, I try to keep referral based leads at a minimum, just from the simple fact that you don't want to get used to selling stuff at a 35% referral rate. You know what I mean? I mean, right off the bat, if you're a $10 million business, that's now $6.5 million. And it could cloud your judgment on how well you're really performing. Like I said, we're on Zillow Flex, which is, we've been on it for over a year now. So it was a process getting involved in that. But they tend to be pretty solid leads, although they don't do a lot of vetting of them. So you still do get your neighbors that are calling to let who they think is the listing agent, even though it's us, that let them know that the door is open or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But they're higher intent buyers. Same thing with, Ojo's another referral source. They have some higher intent clients and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of referral based leads. I don't want it to be 100% of your business. So we try to just keep one referral company and leave the rest out, and really focus that time and energy onto SOI and generating organic leads that way. But Zillow has been good for us. Ojo in the past has been good for us. I think they do a pretty good job delivering solid leads. And Ylopo is, my favorite when it comes to just, the amount of technology they use, and their customer support is great. They do a lot of Facebook and Google stuff, but they're always coming out with new technology and new things. So if anybody hasn't looked into Ylopo, it can get pricey, but they service your website, they do your lead generation, they have a whole marketing and technology platform. It's expensive, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, it is a foundational piece to our business.
Yeah. Well, now, so in terms of websites, stuff like that, is that something that's still crucial? And the reason I ask is back in the day, right? Got to have a website and it's got to have all your listings on it and all that kind of stuff. But, now there's so many like Zillow and Trulia and other listing platforms. I mean, like in my area, when people look at houses, obviously we're using Zillow. Craigslist also in my area, and I'm in Ben Kinney country, right? And they have just everything is on Craigslist. So in some ways that's easier, and it has a little bit more diversity than Zillow does. Do you still need a website, or do you just need to make sure that it's scattered to all of those others as well?
I mean, you certainly can track activities on your own website a hell of a lot better than some of the other major websites. Plus, I mean, they're just going to take that information and connect it with another agent anyway. So an IDX site is important. Now, do you need to have the craziest branded website? I don't think so, but do you need to have something that's integrated with the MLS? so that you can, that you can keep people or try to keep people involved on your site and off of the major sites. Certainly would seem like it's an important thing to have in your business. So that's definitely something I would still recommend, especially if you're using something that's integrated and as thorough as Ylopo. They, like I said, they connect well with Follow Up Boss. I don't know if we have any Follow Up Boss users here, but a really robust system, intuitive, all sorts of automations and stuff and communications. Ylopo sends stuff. We get a notification every time a lead is, logged in for the first time in 30 days, viewed 3 or more homes. We have a full ability to track all of their activities, and they're dynamic as well. So when they register and when they're performing certain things on our site, the dynamic part of it will actually let us know via certain tags and notifications about exactly what they're looking at, why they're looking at it, if they responded to any random form responses or questions that pop up from time to time, what those responses are. You can't get that from anywhere else. And like I said, yeah, you can get that on Zillow. You can have somebody has a Zillow login, but unless they're looking in that zip, or that buyer client goes into their app and approves you as their agent, if they click on anything else in another zip code, it's going to another agent. Simple as that. So you want to keep people off those and on your own stuff, for that reason, and because you want to monitor it a lot better.
Okay. So that is a selling point for a website then. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can use like Google Analytics and all sorts of stuff like that to help track people. And I guess one of the other things I should mention to anybody in the audience is if they're on your website, put your Facebook pixel in, and then you can run ads against them as a visitor later, right? So, so there's some advantages. Now, what about follow-up time? And the reason I ask is, everybody has kind of a different approach to this, but there was a big study that I read. This goes back 2 years. The study, I think, was 4 years ago. They said that you want to basically do 5-minute follow-up time for every lead that comes in. And this was, I forgot the university that did it. It's pretty famous, but they did this metric tracking, and they said that if you wait like 10 minutes, basically, you'll have half the response rate as 5 minutes.
Oh, it sounds like they probably did that for like incoming new leads.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone right away. I mean, that's one thing. There are CRMs that actually will disperse leads and give an agent a certain amount of time to take action on it, or just send it to another agent if you're a team. But yeah, I mean, what's the point of having leads if you're not going to pick up the phone and call it right away? Because they're right. I mean, listen, if you're getting a call, or if you're getting a lead, however you got it, and you're notified of that, and then you're going to wait 10 minutes, well, they're probably off their phone right now. You know what I mean? The reason you call right away is because obviously they took action right there, probably on their phone. Their phone's in their hand and they're staring at it, and a lot can happen in those 10 minutes. I mean, 5 minutes, I would say it's got to be 90 seconds. Like I would say the first 90 seconds has got to make the most impact on it. So yeah, waiting 10 minutes could be horrible. Waiting a day is even worse, So yeah, your response time to take action on leads is super important. Unless you're busy on another appointment, just call them right away.
Yeah. Well, now, do you have any thoughts on sending that to have someone else do follow-ups, right? Like, do you always call them yourself? Because you're doing listing appointments, you're talking to buyers, you're a busy person. Do you have like people who work for you on your team who handle those, or would your reception person, could they handle those, or like a VA?
Yeah, so I don't take leads. I'm doing stuff like this. No, but I don't take leads. I have an awesome team of agents that get dispersed leads on a round robin format. And we did have Conversion Monster for a bit. I'm sure people on here have heard of Conversion Monster. Conversion Monster is kind of an ISA company that will directly connect you with leads as they respond. Those ISA companies are the VAs. They're hit or miss a lot of the time, and there's a honeymoon phase with all of them. They first start and you're excited, and then they kind of can fall off and taper off. I mean, nothing's better than just having your trained people to your business model handle those leads. So So yeah, we have them dispersed on a round robin format, and they all call them right away. And we have action plans that are set up that if they can't get on the phone with them right away, other things happen, like auto texts and emails and voicemail drops and stuff like that can happen. So it just depends on your business model, right? You just have to literally, I mean, the most important thing is training the urgency behind taking action.
Yeah.
And then when you are taking that action, how good are you at connecting with people? How good are you with your scripts and everything like that, can help you kind of earn that person's business and make that connection with them, so skill sets just as important as actually taking action, because you might have people that are really good at being on top of it, but if you suck, you suck.
Well, and that's where your
You're not
skills
doing
and
it.
experience come in. So, actually, if I could break for a moment, I want to plug Sean Kokoska's coaching. And we have Paul Helm here with us. Maybe I can bring Paul in for a moment. I think he's going to drop his link in chat, but we are rebuilding our website, the iconcoaching.com. And one of the things that we're trying to showcase is, the fact that, I mean, Sean's the man, right? When it comes down to coaching, he's the top of the pile. He is the reason that I got back into the coaching industry, because I was doing other projects. And when I saw the opportunity with him, I was like, this is the guy I want to work for. I guess I would urge everyone to visit iconcoaching.com and, learn how they can help you. If you go to the book a call, that will take you to Mr. Paul Helm. And I think Paul is going to drop his link right into chat as well. So
I just dropped it in, folks. I know I've talked to some of you. Sean offers the call for free. Let's talk about the challenges you may be facing. Let's figure it out, the action plan. Are you satisfied with your business? So schedule yourself. Let's talk openly, candidly, and get you going.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. And Dan, let me apologize for turning this into an infomercial on you. That was not my goal.
No, I can attest to that. I mean, I talked about it last week. I've been through a lot of coaches, and Sean has outlasted everybody by a number of years, and if anybody wants a personal, experience, I would say that Sean does things a lot differently when it comes to, obviously you're always working on skill set and stuff, but it's also thinking way down the line and what our organizational structure looks like now versus what we projected it to look 4 years ago. We're heading in that direction, and things might seem completely like unobtainable or completely out of line, but when you think big, you kind of act big. And one of the first conversations I had with Sean was just where we're headed, right? A lot of coaches, and I know a lot of people that have used other coaching companies, and I've used other coaching companies, and a lot of it is just, what are you doing right now to get what you want right now? And that's fine for a little bit, but eventually you need to do something for yourself that's thinking a little bit bigger and taking bigger action. So Sean helps that. Sean is a business coach. Sean is not a skill set coach.
Yeah. No, that absolutely makes sense. Now, one of the things that I've heard of that I think I've struggled with, I think most of us struggle with, that kind of always comes back into my mind is this idea of imposter syndrome. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that or not, but
not.
Yeah, in performance-based skills, right? I think, and Sean has his own word for it, but anything where you have to perform, there are always those nagging doubts, right? Am I good enough? Are the people around me that much better? You know what I mean? And that's something I struggle with. It's like, am I going to be able to do this, or are people going to think like, hey, he doesn't know what he's talking about?
Yeah, I think he calls that Mick, right?
Yeah, that is Mick.
Yeah.
That is Mick.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Sean would love the fact that I even remember that, but I mean, that's true. I mean, why are you even comparing yourself to other people? Just shut up and get to work. Like, I mean, honestly, that's what it is. I mean, I think that there's also the don't compare your insides to other people's outsides. That's all true. You can only control what you can control, and you got to focus on that. And 90% of the time, it's going to be on one of the 4 foundational parts of your business, and it's knowledge, skill set, mindset, and habits. If you're worried about what other people think, you got a mindset issue, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yourself lead generating and working with consistency, you got a habits issue. If you're losing buyers and sellers, you got a skill set issue, or maybe a knowledge issue as well. So you got to focus on those 4 aspects. It's simple as that.
Yeah. Well, and I like your approach too, is just getting down to work, right? Getting it done. And sometimes the mindset follows. That's something I've heard in the past is,
Yeah.
once you get started, right, you will get engaged, you'll get excited, you'll start to see results,
Right.
so.
Right. Yeah. Start enjoying the process more than the results, right? If you fall in love with the results and it's not happening right away, then you can be on a path of disappointment. But, again, if you're doing what you're supposed to do every day, even if you're not getting the results right away, you'll get them eventually.
Awesome. Well, Dan, I think that was everything that I had. So I think, yeah, we're just about at the bottom of the hour. Should we wrap things up for today?
Sure.
Okay. Well, everybody, let me thank everyone who's here. We've got a number of people who have joined us today. Again, this call is every Tuesday, guys. Come back every Tuesday. We also have one for agent attraction. If you're an EXP agent, come back on Wednesdays as well. This is what Icon Coaching is all about. And I am definitely not the spokesperson that Mr. Kokoska is, but he will be back next week. Dan, let me thank you so much for joining us today.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks again, guys.
Happy
And
Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving to everyone.